What's going on, children? How's everybody doing? Second video today on our vets. This one's on my dad. Let's go introduce you to Charles E.McCarthy Sr. My old man was in the Army, and then Army Air Force. This is what I have. This is him. Cpl.Charles E.McCarthy Sr. And that's him with his best friend, Joe Ronayne. They were home on leave right after boot camp before they got shipped overseas. Joe was in the Navy. Mr. Ronayne was ended up being the president of the bank in Canton. He was a very well-known figure in the town. And him and my dad were the best of friends all through life. But that's what I have for my old man's medals. I will read to you. I can, of course, Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, Combat Infantry Badge, Good Conduct Medal. He's got a couple of other. I'll read them to you when we get down there. That's the original Purple Heart. And then we got a replacement for it. As a matter of fact, all of these are replacements. He had lost them, I guess, or whatever, for whatever reason. My old man wasn't much on sentimentality. But yeah, so but come on downstairs and I'll tell you what he did and where he was and what went on. Miserable cold day up here today, boys. Overcast, cold, just like yesterday. And I got these are I have the original papers. These are his papers. His honorable discharge and his papers and everything for when he got out. I got the originals upstairs. We don't have anything as far as his uniform or any of that stuff. That's all got gone. So, but yeah, I'll read you. This is when my dad passed away back in 2003. I didn't think anybody in our family knew anything about what he had done, and so I took his medals and I did a bunch of research and I found out where he had been and what he'd done. And of course, from talking to him, like I said, he talked to me about it. He didn't talk to me about any of the combat stuff. I don't think any of those guys that do never talk about it. If you ever hear a guy talking about combat, I can bet you $10 that he was never even anywhere friggin' near it. So, whatever. All right, here's a little synopsis of my dad and his service. His name was Charles E. McCarthy Sr., and he was born January 17th, 1924. And he passed July 7th, 2003. His World War II record consisted of, his induction date was April 16th, 1943. He attained the rank of corporal in the U.S.Army, 84th Infantry, 333rd Regiment, Company M. They were known as the Rail Splitters. He departed for Europe on September 20th, 1944, and arrived there on October 1st. Fought in the following three campaigns. He fought in the Ardennes-Alsace campaign, fought in the Rhineland campaign, and he fought in the Central Europe campaign. That's why on one of his medals I have three oak clusters. That's what those signify. His three tours. He got wounded at Stuttgart, Germany on November 21st, 1944, which ironically would be a day before my birthday, a few years later. He got hit by a German 88 artillery round. And I don't know if any of you guys know anything about that German, the 88, but Not too many guys survived getting. If you were in the vicinity of when one of those rounds went off, you weren't too many guys that survived it. So, from my understanding was he was wounded. Well, I'll tell you. Let me read you what he got from Meadows, and I'll finish this, and then I'll tell you what happened after he got wounded. For his, this is what he received from Meadows. He got a combat infantry badge. He's got a Purple Heart. He's got a Bronze Star. He's got a World War II Victory Medal. He's got a Good Conduct Medal. He's got an American Campaign Medal, and he has a European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign Medal. So after all was said and done, he departed for the USA on May 28, 1945, and arrived on June 8th, where he collected his pay. $300 and $16.30 travel pay for 2 years, 7 months, and 11 days of service to his country. So, what had happened to him when he got wounded? He got wounded in the, he got a big hunk of shrapnel on his ankle. So what that did was that put his infantry drays behind him. So when he got wounded, they shipped him to England to recoup. And what ended up happening to him was, like I said, there was no way he was going back to the infantry with the ankle like that. So they put him in a motor pool, and he ended up driving pilots on an Air Force base back and forth to their bombers. And one of the pilots that my dad drove back and forth to his bomber was Colonel Jimmy Stewart. Yes, that Jimmy Stewart. My dad had nothing but good words to say about that guy. He actually took him up flying. He took my dad up flying on a milk run once. He said, just a great all-around guy. Treated everybody the same way. But, yeah, he said he can't remember how many times he drove him back and forth to his plane. It's so that they got to know each other pretty well, I guess. And he would always tell me about that. I thought that was pretty cool. So, yeah, he did that for the rest of the war, and then, like I said, came home, collected his pay, scrabbled around. His dad owned a trucking company, Winslow's Express in Canton. It was around for years. And if my grandfather didn't get real sick, then come down with cancer, and they probably still own the business because they had to get rid of it to pay his medical bills. My father said they had to sell the business in order to pay for his medical bills. And they owned a big hunk of property too that they had to get rid of. But yeah, life is what it is. But yeah, I guess he was quite the wild man when he got home. With the bikes, he had a couple of motorcycles. I guess from what I understand, my old man liked his liquor. And my mother put her foot down and told him, we were going to get married, you got to give up the friggin' booze. And he did. He gave up the hard stuff. He drank beer, but he didn't drink any more hard stuff. Very, very rarely would I see him, only during Christmas would I see him drink a couple of shots of, he'd buy brandy, straight brandy. Sit there with his Dixie cup at the table. But during the rest of the year, yeah, just beer. And I never, ever saw him drunk on beer. The guy was phenomenal. I never seen a guy that could drink like that and get up and walk away like he never drank. But yeah, my old man was a good guy. My hero. Absolutely. But, yep, that was my dad. So, real proud of him. Proud to be his son. I knew I wouldn't be able to do it without getting emotional. It is what it is. So, thank a vet, guys. Without them, we got nothing. Peace.